Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. You're listening to Battle New Orleans Radio right here, 990 AM WGSO in the heart of the Crescent City. Hey, Caleb, are you there?
Yep.
All right, Caleb, look, I'm going to turn it over to you and go ahead and introduce the guest there, sir.
All right. Well, yesterday I was driving through Marietta, where I live in Ohio, and there was a small group of people holding up a big banner that said, Marietta, Ohio stands behind Standing Rock. And so I decided to pull off, take a few photos, and go up and try to talk to somebody. And I ended up talking with Nic Cochran, who is on the line, I believe. Nic, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, Caleb.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. So at any rate, like I was telling you, of course, I hadn't really been following the story of what's going on out there with the Dakota Access Pipe Line, of course. If you don't mind, since you all had just returned from the camp out there, would you kind of like to explain a little bit to our listeners what's been going on out there?
Absolutely. So in mid-April, the Dakota Access Pipeline, which carries light, sweet crude oil from the Bakken oil fields in Canada and North Dakota, they had planned to bring it through, or rather around Bismarck, kind of northeast of Bismarck, the capital of North Dakota. And there was a lot of backlash from the white suburbanites in the area. And after some pushback from the community members there, Energy Transfers, who has main ownership in the pipeline, decided to route it through, or rather around the Standing Rock Reservation, which is sovereign Dokota territory. And they did that without any consultation with the tribes or any sort of town hall meetings or community involvement. They just decided to reroute it around where the indigenous peoples are. And that's, I'm sorry, what?
Now, I've actually been hearing some reports that I've looked at some AP reports that this is actually happening near the Sioux Reservation, not necessarily on the reservation itself.
Well, so the main point of conflict there is the Fort Laramie Treaty of 1861, which was ignored by the United States government and by some private land owners. So some land was bought, or rather sold, to a private entity. I'm not sure who it was, but it was sold illegally. And so now that land is being claimed as private property, when in actuality it belongs to the Sioux tribe underneath the Fort Laramie Treaty of 1861. So what the people on the ground, specifically the Dokota people, are asking for is for the governments, the state and the federal government, to honor that treaty and to not put the pipeline through their land. But more importantly, it's a conversation about water. The pipeline, the Dakota Access Pipeline, is projected to cross over the Missouri River twice and the Mississippi River once. This will impact the drinking water of about 13 million people. In addition to crossing the Oglala Aquifer, it's one of the largest aquifers in the United States, provides a lot of water for folks between the Mississippi and the Rockies in the Great Plains region there. So there is the land dispute, but there's also the environmental dispute.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was saying it's not just a land issue. Well, it is kind of a land issue too, because the pipeline is going right through burial grounds for the Lakota people. So their ancestors are buried, and it's being dug up right now as we speak by a foreign oil company. So yeah, it's about land, and it's about water, and it's about honoring the indigenous peoples that were here before us.
Have you guys actually witnessed this happening? As far as the desecration of the burial grounds, or somebody got video footage of this, or?
When I was there, they had already gone through the burial grounds. So this land is native land, and they have been burying their people on these grounds for a very long time. There are articles that I read in the local Bismarck newspaper that Dakota Access Pipeline found ceremonial artifacts, other artifacts of antiquity and just kind of discarded them or went right through them or destroyed them. Didn't defer to the Standing Rock people about what should be done with that. Now, when I was there as well, I got there a couple days after there was a big mass arrest. 141 people, peaceful, prayerful protectors, were arrested about 3 weeks ago, and there was a fire that was started by the Dakota Access Pipe Line employees and the security forces on the northern ridge of the hill around the camp, in hopes of smoking out the several thousand people that were camped there. Fortunately, the winds turned and started blowing back towards the Dakota Access Pipeline folks, and they put it out.
Hey Nick.
Yes.
Nick, Nathan Lawrence here, man. I'm glad to have you on the show. Appreciate your time and your information. Have you seen, while you was on the ground, have you seen any evidence or examples of any kind of maybe government provocateur or agents that, are trying to provoke either side? Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. The day after the day before I got there, a man was thrown out of the camp for coming in with he had an assault rifle, I believe an AR-15, and he had intentions to shoot towards the police and DAPL security. Luckily, he was caught before that happened, and it was found out that this man was actually an employee of the Dakota Access Pipeline. And so he was promptly removed from camp, and the police were called, the Bureau of Indian Affairs were called, and nothing happened. 3 weeks ago on Thursday was the same day that the Bundy clan was acquitted of all that they did in I believe it was Oregon. They were held up in that the federal building. They were firing weapons, and when they were finally brought into custody and everything de-escalated, they went to trial and were acquitted. The same day, 141 Native protesters were arrested for peaceful, prayerful acts. So I think the incidence of violence that's happening on the ground there does not come from within the camp. Everyone I spoke to there is about prayer and is about finding spirituality and getting in touch with their own roots, whatever those are. And the folks that were causing some sort of a ruckus there were not people that were welcome there, and a lot of folks in the hierarchy out there, the tribal hierarchy, believe that those are plants from DAPL or perhaps even from the federal government.
Hey, Nick, you've been a great guest, and we really appreciate your time. We're coming to the end of the show. We're running out of time as well, but I would like to have you back on pretty soon to maybe get into some more detail and in depth. So, Caleb, maybe stay in touch with Nick. We really appreciate your time, man. Good luck out there. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Look, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Go ahead, man. We really appreciate it, man. And God bless. Thank you, Nick. Look, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you, man. Keep it up. Look, ladies and gentlemen, what you are witnessing is a gang of pedophiles, satanic pedophiles, that have taken over the control of all these power structures and that are inside of all of these elites. And it is very, very sickening. So please go, if you can stomach it, read some of these emails, and figure out for yourself what they're talking about, because it is very, very hard for the normal working average day Joe out there to grasp and really take in this information and really understand it until you see it for yourself. These people aren't like us. They're into some sick and twisted stuff. So look, ladies and gentlemen, it's time we stand up, and it's time we be vigilant. It's time we do all of this in a peaceful manner. We have to hold Donald Trump accountable. So blow up his Twitter, blow up any social media platforms. Keep his feet to the fire. We'd like to thank Miss Raphael O'Neal for being in studio. Man, we really appreciate it, and we'll have you back soon. Gary King, thank you as always. Thank you, Anthony. Ladies and gentlemen, till next week, we'll talk to you soon. Battle Nola Radio.
Our daily life is filled with many decisions. Some have effects on our lives for years to come. That decision-making process is often full of opinions, stressful, and leaves us confused and insecure, not knowing who or what to believe. This is your neighbor, advisor, and sounding board, Ralph Leopold. Please join me for Your Money, Your Life.
Tuesdays at 5.
Here on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com.